Welcome back to Unit 3 of Microsoft Excel, which is entering, editing, and managing data. In this lesson, we are going to understand how to enter data into a worksheet, examine how to edit data in a worksheet, how to autofill, and how to delete data from a worksheet, and use the undo command. How to adjust the columns width and row width will be a next topic in the next unit. All right, here we have our worksheet open. In the first cell A1, I did something there. Let me undo so that it goes back to the way it was before. Right, this is the undo feature to undo the last activity that I did. Right, so I've typed here class of 2020, and then I typed here CLC 3509 marks, and I typed test 1 here, and the next that I need here is test 2, and I also need test 3 here. So I'll now use a feature called autofill, automatic fill. So I'll click on B1 where there's test 1. I move my cursor on the lower right corner of my bold active cell. There's a broken square there. I move my cursor there and click and hold and move to the right. While I'm moving to the right to where I want the text to be automatically filled, as I pass that cell, I would see the text that would go in that cell the moment I release my finger on the keyboard. All right, I move up until D4, then I leave my mouse there. I automatically have test 2 and test 3 filled in my cell using a sequence, given that I have test 1. All right, so I also want to enter in the figures for the last 2 persons in my class. They don't have their test marks, test 1, test 2, and test 3. Coco here has test 1 mark, has 87%, and then test 2 Coco has 70, and then test 3 Coco has 59, and then Hoho test 1 has 89, test 2 Hoho has 90%, and test 3 Hoho has 95%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you are entering the figures in your cell, make sure that you are not formatting the cells yet, the figures yet. Right, so we enter the marks like that. After entering the marks like that in our cell, the total, getting the total, the count and everything will be done in unit 5 or unit 6 of our Excel. Right, so here we are going to do something that is called we apply column headings. We apply not column headings. We are going to apply formatting to the title of our table. This section here that we have here is more or less like a table. So the title that I'm talking about is what we have here. It must appear on the center top of the table that we have. Right, so first of all, we need to merge and center. Merge and center is to group the selected number of cells together, and then the content of the cell appears on the center of the newly created cell the newly created cell. All right, so I will highlight A1 all the way to E1, and then I go in the ribbon here, alignment, merge and center. When I merge and center, the vertical cell in between the highlighted cell disappears. I now have one big cell that contains class of 2020, and class of 2020 appears on the center of the newly created cell. All right, I also have something that is called cell style. So we apply the style to that cell so that it appears like a heading. So we go to cell styles here, and then we choose something like heading 1. Right, Or else, if we are not using cell styles, we can apply some formatting, make it bold, underline it, italize it, change the font type, change the font size, change the font color, and so forth. All right. To the next heading, which is CLC 3509 marks, we can also look our content of our cell it appears as if it's overflowing beyond our A3. So it's either we increase the height of the cell or we increase the width of the cell. To increase the height of the cell, we click on A3 there, we go alignment, we click on wrap text. Wrap text, we are multiplying, we are increasing the height of the cell to multiply the number of rows in the cell that we have. That doesn't look beautiful. So I'll undo. And then after undo, I increase now the width of the column. So I move my case on the intersection of the active column A, where I have the text, and the passive column B on the right side, and then I double click. Now, the cell will increase depending on what is inside it. The cell width will increase depending on what is inside it. All right. So now I have my headings, test 1, test 2, and test 3, the total. And then I can still apply the heading, the style, cell style to heading 2, which is CLC 3509 max. Before I apply the style, it also has to appear on the top center of the table. So we need to highlight A3 all the way to E3 and then Magent center. And then we go to cell styles and then we choose heading 2 or heading 3, for example. Now we have that beautiful heading in our worksheet. All right. There's also something that is called text orientation. How do we want the text to be oriented on in our cell? It rotates. How much degrees should it rotate? Right. So I'll highlight test 1, test 2, test 3, and total. Then I go to orientation here. Then I click on down pointing arrow. On the menu that appears, I click on format cell alignment. The orientation that I want to apply is 45 degrees. So I type, delete the 0 degrees there, and then I put 45. And then the font must as well change from the default color to dark red. And then the size can still change if you want to, but I don't want to change the size. And the font style can also change to bold, italize, or regular or italic. The font type also can change. We can also underline it, single line, double line, and then apply the effects, whether it's strike through or super strike of subscript. And then we click the button. Okay, there we have our orientation on our cells that we have selected. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is also something that is called clear formatting. Let's say I apply this formatting here, but maybe it's not exactly what I want. So I highlight that cell, the cell where I want to clear the formatting, and then I move my cursor. All right, it's editing, then there's clear there, and then we say clear all formatting. The all formatting that we had, they disappears. But you see that the text, it's like it doesn't appear anymore. It's because we just clear the formatting, but we never change the orientation. Right, so let's go back and do the clear formatting so that we have our text the way we had it before. And then we can also delete data in our cell. Maybe Popo test2 didn't get 67 but got 77. So we go there, backspace, the text is deleted, and then we type what we want to have in the cell. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for the